Hey, welcome back. I put my earphone back in here. Kind of got caught talking to Blaine Perkins. We're in the Kern County Raceway Park segment, Baco Motorsports Power Hour. I'm Mike Griffith, Bakersfield, California motorsports rider. And you're still here, Blaine. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
You're doing good. Kern County Raceway Park. It's known for a big half mile, 0.533. It's got a quarter mile and a little eighth mile inside, but outside, just to the north of the main complex, is a dirt track, a third mile racetrack that they started running on about a year ago, full time, a little bit longer than that. They've been running. And at first, it had a really tight turns 1 and 2, almost like a tri-oval. And they had a race there earlier this year in early February. That was the last race on that. They took and moved the wall out and turn 2 wall out basically about 45 feet, John Piker told me. And so now you have a big turn 1 and 2, much like turns 3 and 4. So it basically mirrors it. And they held their first race on the reconfigured track there Friday night. Go ahead and show a couple of these slides, if you will, Chris. This first one here, Robbie Sawyer. This is early right before sunset when they were practicing on the track. Was still a little slick. This was hot lapping. Well, Robbie looked pretty good there. He's got the left front up in typical mod fashion there. He went on and won that night and won at Bakersfield Speedway. So he had a great weekend. This is a little mod light action. I took this shot. I loved it because it looks like the 15 car here. Mac McCaslin is headed toward the Taft Bakersfield exit, while the other guys are going right. That's that turn 2 there now at the track. Excuse me. Zach Forrester in a mod light. He ended up winning that night. Really fast car. He also won at Bakersfield Speedway, so Zach's back. Zach is on the attack again. They had the Bakersfield hardtops, formerly known as the Okie Bowl hardtops. These are basically the cars that they were running in the 50s out there, jalopies out at Bakersfield Speedway. They were kind of this type of car was the top division back then, and now a group of guys have gotten some of these together, put them together instead of running, they're running small block V8s in them, and they've got the roll cages out there, and it started kind of as an exhibition type thing several years ago. But these guys actually get after it, and they race in these big, and you can tell there's a high center of gravity in these cars. They're kind of fun to run. They run a handful of races each year, basically at Bakersfield Speedway. I think they even run San Maria, and now they're running out of KCRP, and they're kind of fun and entertaining. You can look back to see how the race cars used to look back then. And James Bradburn came on top of that race. And in Hobby Stocks, that's Mr. Urito there, but Michael Scruggs was the winner there on the dirt track there. And you've never been on a dirt track, have you?
No, I've never been on a dirt track. I did test like a little midget on a little tiny dirt track just to try to learn some car control. That's the biggest thing about the dirt. That's why I think so many dirt drivers have success. Like in NASCAR, they all came from dirt. It really teaches them good car control and how to put that car right there on the line and on the edge and make it fast.
Yeah, there's a whole litany of drivers who have done well in NASCAR on dirt. We're on dirt, and we can start with Tony Stewart, who used to race midgets out of Bakersfield Speedway. And I forgot to mention in the first segment, Tony Stewart was in Bakersfield last week. Dropped in, and he does this once in a while. He'll just fly into town because he's got some friends here. All of a sudden, here's a picture of Tony Stewart at the Bakersfield Karting Experience, the new go-kart track, and it's just a whole indoor entertainment complex there off of Buck Owens Boulevard there. He drops into town, probably did a little go-kart racing, and so they had a picture of him on their Facebook page. So, but as you said, that I think you can go from dirt to asphalt.
Yeah.
But it's really tough to go from asphalt to dirt because it doesn't feel right.
Exactly. I mean, I've been just taught my entire life just to be smooth on the wheel and try to be smooth as fast. So a little different on the dirt, and it was a big learning experience when I did go test that little midget.
Yeah. Now you're in here because you're on the NASCAR K&N Pro Series West circuit. Let's spit that one out.
Oh, yeah.
Formerly known as the Winston West back in my day. So we go back to the cigarette brand sponsors in the old days. But the circuit's been around for decades and decades. This is your second year on it. You started you had one race in 2015, kind of got your feet wet at 15 years of age, and then you signed on for Steve Portengay Racing last year. Steve Portengay's got his shop here in town. He's been a crew chief for many years, a car owner for many years, and before that, he's two-time Southwest Tour champion back when NASCAR was sponsoring the Southwest Tour. He's run full seasons on the West Series. He finished second 1 year in that, lots of top 10 finishes and wins on the West Series, and he ran the Truck Series for a while. So how'd this whole deal come out with Steve Portengay?
Really, I think we just met him at the racetrack. First race I ever ran for him, I ran a super late model for him, and we just become really good friends with him. And he's just such an awesome guy, fun to talk to. He's just taught me so much. So really, when we started talking about the K&N series and trying to move up, we really thought he was the one to go to, just being local. And it's just awesome to have him right here in the backyard to where I can go to the race shop, and he can just teach me so much about these race cars. And it's just really good to have all of us as kind of just a little family here in Bakersfield.
Now, last year you ran and you had 1 top 5, 10 top 10s, a rookie. How difficult was it getting into these bigger, heavier cars than from a late model for you?
It was really difficult. I mean, I would say the biggest difference between these cars was the weight. These cars are extremely heavy, and they have a lot of horsepower. They do, but it really, with the weight, you can really feel it. So they got big old brakes, and you got to use them to slow these cars down. And the cars do. It's a lot faster, and we run a lot bigger tracks. So traveling all over the West Coast and all the way even to Iowa was just an extreme learning experience for me, and I think it really helped teach me just how to drive better.
Okay, you've got the Napa Auto Parts 150 coming up Thursday night out at KCRP. Split race, they stop about after 75 laps, somewhere right around there. You can go in there, do minor work on the cars for about 10, 15 minutes, and then go again, much like they've had in the past, right?
Yeah, it'll just be a quick little break, probably a 5-10 minute adjustment. And I don't know if we get tires here. I don't quite remember if we got tires last year, but really adjustments is where we can really fine-tune the car and just try to get it perfect for those last 25, 50 laps here.
Now, this is part of the Napa 500 Challenge. This is a unique thing for the K&N West Series, which has about a dozen races. We're getting rid of a quarter of the season in 8 days. It seems unreal, but the series started Tuesday in Tucson. It's here Thursday night, and then there's 2 separate 100-lap races on Saturday night at Irwindale, and that's part of that 500 challenge. For Napa's putting up a lot of money. If any driver wins all 4 races, it's a $100,000 bonus. Chris Eagleson came out of a duel with Todd Gilliland, I guess, and won at Tucson. So now he's the only driver left to can get that $100,000. The Tucson race, you said you had a pretty good run going. Would you qualify about 10th or 11th?
Yeah, I think we qualified 10th, and we had a really good start going to that race. Tucson's really big tire management. It really chews tires, so you got to really be careful. And we were running the top really well, really consistent, and we made our way up to about 5th in about 30 laps. And we had a restart on the bottom, and that kind of hurt us. We fell back quite a ways, and then just kind of I think we made our way back up to about 8th for the break and made our adjustments and came back out, and really we just couldn't go much farther. It was tough. People kind of realized how fast the top was, and once that happened, it was a lot more they were kind of in our groove, so it made it a lot more difficult to pass people.
Yeah, you get there at go ahead. We got a few pictures of you from out at KCRP last year, but at Tucson being a 3.75 mile track at 3rd mile track, how difficult it is to pass there? And once you get up there, is it pretty much just you're just following the leader unless you bump somebody?
Actually, it's a pretty racy track for being such a small track. There's definitely the low and the high groove. We had the car really set up really good, though, for the high groove, and we didn't focus as much on the bottom. And I think that might have hurt us a little bit when we tried to go to the bottom and pass during the race. But I think we were extremely fast, and I think if we could have kept that track position up there in 4th and 5th, I think we would have been really well.
And instead, it comes out to 11th place finish. So you come here from Tucson to KCRP. Totally different animal, isn't it? Is it the same car, or do you have a different car?
No, it'll be a different car. Definitely. We have our bigger speedway car. And usually this is the car we'll take to Kern in Iowa. And so we're just going to go out here and see how the car feels. We tested here a couple weeks ago. We were really fast in our test, so it'll be extremely fun and just trying to get used to the bigger speedways again.
Yeah, and you go to these different Irwindale. You've been at Irwindale and at Kern. Kern's the fastest. Is this the fastest track on your circuit?
I would say it's our second fastest track.
Outside of Iowa.
Outside Iowa, yeah.
Which is 7/8 of a mile.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite a big difference. But maybe Evergreen, Monroe, Washington. I would say they're pretty close to speed. I think it's a little bit bigger, but Kern has this big old banking, so that really keeps the momentum up and gets you going down the end of that straightaway.
Is there a tricky part of Kern, or is it pretty much all the same? Is coming off a 2 a little trickier because it's tighter and you're carrying so much speed into 1?
Yeah, I definitely think coming off a 2 is pretty tricky, especially when you're trying to pass a car or you got a car on your outside. It gets real tight off there, and sometimes it makes the car break a little loose coming off a 2. So you got to definitely be careful and manage that right rear. And but other than that, I think the track's really awesome. It's really good for these long races. Kind of the tires makes you kind of run the top a little bit, and it kind of turns into a 2-groove racetrack and really racy. And I'm just really excited for Thursday night.
The key to Kern just carrying momentum and not. You got to use the brakes, but you don't want to scrub too much off. You just want to roll through the corners as quick as you can.
Yeah, I mean, definitely momentum here is the key. The second you lose momentum, you can just see them pulling away for the next couple laps. It's not just you can just go drive it back into the next corner and catch right back up. You definitely got to be on your top game every turn of every lap, because the second you lose that momentum, you lose quite a bit of positions.
You got that coming up. You've got Todd Gilliland dominated here last year, I think. You got Eggleston's running well. All those the Napa cars, Bill McAnally Racing is going to be tough. What's your goal coming into this? You've got some really, really tough competitors at this. What are you looking for this year at Kern?
I think we're definitely looking for a really solid finish, definitely a top 5. Coming here to our home track, that means a lot to us, and I think we got one of the best cars out here. So especially from last year, it being my second or third race, I learned a lot here, and I think I'll really be able to put that towards this year's race and just try to excel and finish really good here this year.
Okay, and the deal is, as Steve Hughes, if he was here, he'd say, we're going to get you out early. It's a school night, but we're going to get you home early at KCRP. And you go into that because you're going to have qualifying at 4 o'clock. 6:15, get out there early on-track driver autograph session. At 7:15, you might want to be there. Dirt modifieds on the quarter-mile little exhibition race. 7:40, you're going to start your engines for the K&N West race, and they're going to finish the night with a trailer drop of all things. Have you ever seen one of those?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, back in the day, Marion Collins used to like to do that once in a while out at the old Mason Wren Raceway, and get a big old crane and a big old trailer and watch it kind of float down and smash into about a bajillion pieces.
I'm sure that'll be fun to watch.
It's kind of fun to watch, and maybe you can get a dirt modified and get on the asphalt.
Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. I saw the commercial of those guys going around there, and it definitely looks pretty interesting. I think it'd be pretty tough to go on asphalt, and especially with that big transition going into 1. Yeah. I think that would definitely be tough, and that's going to be impressive to watch.
So it'll be a little fun for you. You might be buckled into your car by the end of that, so you have to look at a video of it. But I want to thank you for coming in. And you've got to go out to the track and practice later on today, and I wish you luck on Thursday.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll be back with another segment of the Baco Motorsports Power Hour in a moment.